西西北天北王波江北洋，刚健天北主天中可巴罗夏拉索瓦帝弥贝切维帝切切北王波江北洋，刚健天北主根中可巴罗早北夏弥贝切维帝天雷西吉美天北王波江北康健天主根中可天北王波江北洋，天北中可巴罗千瑞西吉天北王北洋，康健天北主根中可巴罗萨王波江北主根中可巴西波江北洋，主可巴萨夏拉以美切为内前西西北天北王波江北洋港天北主 เวชาลาโสวะเตมิเมเสเวเต显见类系其美谦卑王波将杯康健谦卑主肯宗可巴罗萨贝下拉โสวะเดเจสัพพะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมสัพพะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะอิติปิโสภะคะวะอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธเวชาจารณะสัมปันโนสุขโตโลกวิทูอนุตตรปุริสธรรมสารติสัทธาเทวมนุสานังพุทโธภคะวะติสวากขาโตภคะวะตาธัมโมสันทิติโกอากาลิโกเอหิปัสสิโกโอปนายโกปัจจตังเวทิตามโพวิโยหิติสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอุชุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆญาญาปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสามีจิปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆยะทิทังจัตตาริปุริสยุคานิอาตาปุริสปุกลาเอสะภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอาหุนายโยปาหุนายโยทักขินายโยอัญชลิกรณิโยอนุตตรังปุญญเขตังโลกาสาติอาเสวนาจะภารานังปันดิตานันจะเสวนาปุชาจะปุชนิยานังเอตัมมังคารโม ตมังปฏิโรปเทสวาโสจะปุเพจักตาปุญญาตาอัตตสัมมาปณิทิจเอตัมมังคารมุตตมังพาหุสัจจันจะเสปัญจวินัยโยจะสุสิกิโตสุปาสิตาจะยาวาจาเอตัมมังคารมุตตมังมาตาปิตุปาทานังปุตตธาราสสังอนาคุลาจักกัมมันตาเอตัมมังคารมุตตมันติ
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.受想行识亦复如是，舍利子是诸法空相不生不灭，不垢不净，不增不减，是故空中无色无色相，行识无眼耳鼻舌身意无色身，相为诸法无眼界，乃至无意识界，无明亦无明尽，乃至无老死亦无老死，无苦集灭道，无智亦无得，亦无所得，菩提萨埵依般若波罗蜜多故，心无挂碍，无挂碍故，无有恐怖，远离颠倒梦想，究竟涅槃，三世诸佛依般若波罗蜜多故得阿多罗三藐三菩提，故知般若波罗蜜多是大神咒，是大明咒，是无上咒，是无等等咒，能除一切苦，真实不虚。故说般若波罗蜜多咒，即说咒曰：揭谛揭谛，般若揭谛，般若僧揭谛，菩提萨埵。 悉菩萨道。
马上就没写了，怕是马见面吧，那个说说让人一起去嘛，对对，有了啥子？对啊，他嘎的巴拉嘎的巴拉上过的不的说，对啊，他嘎的巴拉嘎的巴拉上过的不的说，对啊，他嘎的巴拉嘎的巴拉上过的不的说。年对修我做了归心你因一切天在看业当着了攀爬上了老心你也今天等住刚才养到那边头脑那么滚的那上的son我年对修就什么上界因你用的了茶山路刚给等现这话中搞不没不吃不没不当没不玩没不装没不他的对面的这把你是现在我做个上界嘛能接当不得了茶山路刚开始你说呢，到我这边为了咱们现在这边过他们家老炒菜咯。
No permanence, no coming, no
当看上的给中那些人
identity and peaceful, free from fabrication.
偷开了最起码的那边对吧？
As I said
上届6年中主机矿里啊，他穷的吧？他矿给南州给，但几张钱呢？我那站那个南州的，但票都从是查的要的，那矿个检查，但没等见，入住也是的，同名估计，桥上缺啥，是好的，等他妈这个准备的，我那站那个不给，距离啊，老送给娘些个团呢，我那边到我边特别远的吧。的，第一弄了点呢，挨了头上bomb钱呢，但从印度站呢，这个电动送了，被讲过票都清白，到那开住年的，电视机他搞到3节个单吧，被没有，他都是军人拿去从印吧的，这那人被加拿大塔儿，这斯里兰卡的、泰兰的地这几个塔儿，这呢，加拿大来，塔儿，大概那些朋友都少不得，地有了，地塔儿去，加拿大嘛，这高瑞啊，越南、日本，真的看到一些嘢，的有路攀不起，看到30年代的，但送个车来给贴不得去，日下。那对他的人那样，3节一去，差不多也别拿人者，他去有，龙树菩萨先呢，这样子对讲那个，他去这个是川北，他讲他这个历史的兄弟啊，不给他特殊公司请的第一个，别个包括入住是对他上面去。上面这点是谁？开发我们第一的，肯定是觉得没说光是送了点了，现实的话，前年当我30年代那个呢，汤马人呢，我们做上一届的接着呀，考虑汤不送，定性没找出居住，开始需要的些，是说，但的呢，真正那个的对着。考虑汤不送些对着就在的这个上当呀，搞了学不下来的用的，高点、蓝点啥都是在的，可这那是这个再去经验学了当着的这个但是到了没有学么也不行的，对这都是没用的在呢。30年代的考虑爬吧，实际个情况下，到底送一把的。那巧克碰日了，这习近平多送，但习近平兄绝对蒙古修学不来，这呢 다한테 대캬는 유명한 접대야지. 아니 가서 독수 용문 세워셔스. 가. 어제는 왜 유문세야 면은 직격이야래. 유문세야디 면은 접어지고 저기였나? 아니 싫어 나와 봐셔서 될 거야 그 말에. 간다 유문디 가서 스스로들이 머리 봐서야 돼. 치료도 또 록시 차이인데 디세야디 디 록시 그 시어체체 디 진단계다 로지 싫어 그 남주 싫어시야 깨니 디 진단계가 거는 넣어야지 이거 유전에 아니 싫어고 나 봐쇼스 그봐 아니 다 들어 지나는 게 매용하다 다 지대위니 전능기배 인루 지신시에 싫어고 나 지금 현대 가시부 좋대야 이거야 말해 다른 야나 바보 중이네 돈이 무슨 또 돼야 해 간다 바보 있는 돈이 무슨 또 켜버리 자다 현대 가시부야 생애디 청주절은 좀 쉬어서 다들 고요하래 자들이 인도 안 되잖아 좀 너무 자야지 뒤좀 살아셔 다들 싫어 나와 바로 쉬어서 러대하기 아니 싫어고 나와요 하생이디 당아저 남주 따고 된대하기 싫으니고 다디 닝진이 무슨 알아 이렇게 누가 배나 산계기 투기연대 시행되잖아요 나버 탐제 캠바 센스도가 캠페로 시에도是吧 상부로도 쉬우지 개정을 되고 간다 연대 조셔서 나버 탐제 캠바 세하게 탐제 캠바 조 시를 들어도 그러고 저들이 이르잖아요 야 왜냐 안 나가서 문제다 된다 싫으님부 싫으님부스네 다 싫으리야 싫어 먹고 예배나네 다 안되디 아니 다 돈이도 싫어 지도 도배다 싫어 지대에 내루시베다 인루시시시베다 싫어로 뒤쳐대요 저다가 다 뒤져져라 제겐이 흉들이 아니 시진시진생 토거리 그봐 다 되게 있는데 아다가서 싫으니 붙던데 하기 아니 고대 아니 하고 제네시 가서 등야를 사실 좀 된데 아니 소문 나와셔서 등인저는 염을 쇼네 뒤 자가 가지고 그래 되면 되게 안돼 가 가 가자 제니 부모가 어쩌라요 러시아 동원은 거 양다고 싶다고 했으니 다 가서를 해야 돼 강사 강도 답에 시디 아니 부모한테 자유도와 세상가 남 강사 수준의 풍부루유도 차였거네 나서도 놀셔도 와 그봐 저들이 인도 전에 역시 풍부디 아니 거다냐라 나도 놀러 나오는 시지 야마리스 풍부가 어쩌다지 러시아 동안은 거 다오스 다들네 수동보 동보니 수수 수를 동보니 샤마이 동보니를 저 수신 많이 넣었으니 동니 시골세 동니 시골 와다 되게 다 풍부나네 수기 풍부들라고 알지서 당해서 아테를 집으로 숙성을 해야지도가 사진이 인도 속대 나와도 주요 말에 나와도 주요 동보리 있어 또 동보세야 돼 가게 매딩이 지기 시고 말에 그러다 그 나와도 컨디션은 게 나와도 주요 말했어야 건 컨디션은 거스로는 파르면에 여도시 올는 것도 봐 최신은 뭐냐 주도시 올는 것도 봐 제가 그거 나와도 주요나 수 풍부도 다들 입도 카도도 차셔 소소 파 세세세 파 세르 좀 세리나 그 세르도 로고 가서 해야 돼. 저들이 인도산에 딱 보면 누가 당상 관람 피스선에 나라시고 소식이 저들이 차셔 파 뒤처럼 봐 세윤도 켜네. 또 누구서 내가 차이잖아요. 치든 나와도 주요 말세 그 딱다리도 와. 사실 인도에서 수동보스. 자자가 다 동보니 수소스. 수디 애니 나와도 주매봐. 그 예니야래 진짜 인도 그 여단데 애니 민좀 다좀 세하게 때내 딱 그 퀄리티잖아요. 애니 뭐니 뭐죠 인상 그 때내 다 적어도 와. 그봐. 뭐지 주요는 때내 다 가면 봐. 부터 나라야. 아니 뭐니 좀나 뒤니 샤고에 초고에서 때내 다고 지샤사디 쉬우세버려 숙성모. 사들이 인도자는 그 팬들이 다 민성 다성 다성치 차대도 이거 그 때는 주가 인도 그 규진을 때버디 태그로 봐. 때는 주가시면은 규진의 뜻인 말와. 규진 편수 뜻고 용식 말와. 저들이 인도자네 동번이 수소스 수모니 주변 동데 아니 수모 주야데 그 견시라 라레바 견시라 때웨이 견시라 때네 그 수스치는 아주 편견적이 되지다 예버디 그 차용인데 그다음에 수 동번이 수소스 다음에 뒤니부터 아니 뭐 다들베 그들에서나 뭐 찍으셨어 수준이디 최신 수 춘이 차대도 수코레 예로래 진짜 인도 가다 뭐 찍으셨어 대니 뭐 찍어야 되시려래 와 너가 다돼 그러니 마다 맞아가네 샤샤지 수주 뭐 찍. 뒤뭐 예로 컨디도 봐봐 딱저 집에 있나 야 니야지 수주 뭐 찍. 그러다 도선이 동원이 술이 동원이 시험이 동원이 수시 많이 넣었어. 다 술이야 돈이 시고도 송사를 제라 대신도 소화라서 맞아요도 와. 저런 아주 뉴시로 이부터 해야 돼. 시우진 dü셔 버리셔. 계속 쉬우시래셔.
如同昨天所说的，具有善巧方便，也具有极大智慧，以及大悲心的导师释迦牟尼佛，出生在2600年前。
So about 2,600 years ago, the Buddha appeared in the world, this compassionate and skillful Buddha who was somebody who was fully intelligent and wise being. And after the Buddha came the Indian masters, such as His Holiness was asking the Chinese if the fan is too strong or not. So they said it's okay, I think. And so, following the Buddha's teaching, the masters like Nagarjuna and his disciples and followers, as well as Asanga and his disciples and followers, such as those of the Diknaga and Dharmakirti, the beings who were highly realized also appeared in India. And following their teaching, through the process of hearing, reflection, and meditation, they practiced the teaching thoroughly and then passed on the tradition, the teachings to the future generations. And therefore, throughout these, after following them, generations of scholars and meditators also kept up with the teaching of the Buddha, and then the teaching of the Buddha from India spread to China, and from there to other countries like Korea, Vietnam, Japan, and so forth, and also it spread to the countries like Thailand and so forth, and then also Tibet. And so even today, those beings or the people who follow the Sanskrit tradition, to them the name of Nagarjuna is well known, and the greatness of these beings like Nagarjuna and so forth could be inferred through their own writings, and And so having said that, now to go back to the Buddha first turned the wheel of the Dharma on the Four Noble Truths and its 16 attributes, as we talked about yesterday, and then those who after listening to this, the teaching on the Four Noble Truths and 16 characteristics, then the beings or the disciples who became more curious about and interested in learning more about the true cessation and true path, to them the Buddha gave the teaching on the Vulture Peak, the teaching called the Perfection of Wisdom Sutras. And so the prayer that the Chinese disciples these days say, which says that may the three poisons be dispelled, three poisons of afflictions be dispelled, has to do with the development of wisdom. And so if prayer alone is sufficient, we do not need to say the second line in your prayer, which says, may the light of wisdom be ablaze. And therefore, there's need to know what is ignorance and its opposing factor, and so that the ignorance is countered and overcome through that wisdom. And therefore, you say this prayer where, in order to overcome the obstacles, you say, may all obstacles be averted. And so, in order for the wisdom to be greatly beneficial for oneself and others, what one need is the kind heart or compassionate attitude, which in your prayer says, may we engage in the bodhisattva practices. And so, though kindness or kind-heartedness is very essential in our practice, but without the help of our wisdom, it may not be effective as to overcome the defilements completely. And therefore, when we come to talk about the Buddhas, we talk about the Buddhas refer to the Buddhas being omniscient, and so knowing everything comes through wisdom, and therefore wisdom is very essential in our practice that is combined with the altruistic attitude. And so with regard to wisdom, the text of the Perfection of Wisdom is there, which teaches that of the Perfection of Wisdom, the wisdom realizing emptiness. And then His Holiness was mentioning that in the Heart Sutra we find mention of even the five the aggregates are. I mean the introductory part where it says the practitioners should see even the five aggregates as being empty. And so, but then in the introductory part of the Heart Sutra seems to be absent from the Chinese Heart Sutra translation. And in any case, the Heart Sutra says the five aggregates are also empty of intrinsic nature, and then it goes on through the fourfold emptiness, which says form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is not other than form, and form too is not other than emptiness. And so, because when here the Buddha was using the form as the subject for establishing that of emptiness, and then this is because when we think about the form or body, and it feels like as if there is some kind of a solidity of the body, or which is inherently existent, and therefore the Buddha uses this subject or the form or body to establish emptiness. So so if the form were to exist as it appears, then it should become more and more clear as we search for its identity more and more. But that's not the case. As the quantum physicists also say, that there is nothing objectively existing. So it applies to form as well. And so because things do not have any objective existence, therefore existence through dependence is feasible, and therefore the Heart Sutra says the form emptiness is form as well. And the Buddha Palita also, in his commentary, Buddha Palita commentary says, if things were to have any intrinsic existence, what is the need for dependent origination? And therefore, the Heart Sutra says form emptiness is form as well. And then after that, there is this two phrase which says emptiness is not other than form, and form too is not other than emptiness, which shows that the two, the emptiness and the form and its emptiness are of the same nature. And so following the form, then the Buddha goes on through the other objects such as feelings or sensations, perceptions, mental formations and consciousness to establish emptiness.
所以色法并非如同我们看到般的存在，这个时候我们就可以搭配着量子物理所说的论述了。因为在宏观世界当中，我们看任何的物理，它都是有它的定律的。可是你到微观世界的时候呢，你看什么东西，任何的这种物理它是没有定律的，粒子它是没有定律的。所以同样的道理，看法和存在的方式是不同的。所以色即是空，色并非如同我们所看到的般的真实的存在，色即是空。那因为色是自性空的缘故，色并非是以自己的力量呈现了自己的作用和性质。那色的性质又不是没有，色的性质仍然是存在的。那这种存在是怎么存在的呢？只能选择抽象存在，或者是明示施舍而有精此。如果色有自性的话，何须观待而已？如同《佛部论》里面所说的“自性若已成，安置彼时性，复何须依赖？”如果自性已经成立的话，以自己的力量形成了自己的作用和性质的话，其作用和性质何须观待呢？因为是以自力而形成，就不需要观待他力。正是因为无自性，没有任何的性质作用，是以自己的力量产生，所以更需要去观待他者。因为依赖他者、观待他者的缘故，正因为空才有了色。
The introductory part that I was referring to in the introduction of the Heart Sutra, it says the Avalokiteshvara also saw the five aggregates are empty of intrinsic existence. And so that part seems to be missing in absent in the Chinese translation, which comes in the introductory part of the Heart Sutra.
于是又说到了色不异空，空不异色的这一个空相四，在无寻无找当中，色和色的存在的究竟性的空，这两者的繁体是异。那有寻有找的时候呢，其实色上面的这个空性就是色存在的一个究竟性。就以这个角度来讲的话，色和其空它自己的这个空性而言，它们的体性是为一的。所以由此道理来去推类受想行识亦复如是。找一找。
现在的，苏东北人苏是呢，现在的，但东北团的公布路主给，谁不休息？哎呢，早上那里啊，天津这湾中华康，天天东北人都写。天天打过的，今年我们那边都是，送的话，东北下的，看样没别个什么大事，就在呢，你就没得这个，人看样没多少，的嘛的是，但是这个中国康是，天天东北人都写，天天都这样，个天天做不印度，对不的没对吧？给我那蛮给的。样呢，马对不应过去，样呢对不应过去，今年嘛都什么多啊？说今年印度上呢，可这印度上呢，可马对不让我学呢，可三如果根本多啊。这今年印度呢，可对呢，主要的社会学多啊，加上个担心这块。中华港，天天东北人都写的是， 동거세 매매 그저 말이지. 댄지 저거 좋아하지. 댄지 저거 좋아하잖아요. 댄스로도 그 축투 매등에 현실로 되고야. 현실로 라려고야. 저거 좋아하는데 대단 제니 반년 재생해지. 댄지 저거 좋아하지. 너는 댄중 세하기 말아서 근데 때려도 저변에 요래 댄시 춘이 민도라 중심 지된 취향도 직수글의 개보신 댄지도 설명가 댄중 세하기 어다가도 동배 되는데 댄중 같은 달에 댄중 인상 공원이 주요 말이지. 근데 이들 딱히 제주 그게 나온다도 좀 매져가지고 통연도 동바치 동배 되는데 그 현실을 라레고 거네 주어마도 그 라마레고 주어지기 동인이잖아요. 아니 동바 댄중 같은 샤인이잖아요. 그 메타세도도 댄에 샤되기 땅도세 중 샤되기 차다세 타니 직접도 세트야지 고아지도 충분히 버리셔. 그래서 퍼진 나네 교류적으로 도지스메 댄시 아니 뭐로적으로 직투적이 댄시 아니 제불로적으로 예매경고 댄시 되네 근데 뭐 삼자로 봐 상말로 겹땡했디 아니 리베 개부 댄지 댄시 사대 다 교류적으로 도지스메 댄시기 달에 개월 시간에 개월 파워 짜인데 그 경험해 봤지. 그 예배 처리 그 시도금도 가. 저다 디디 dom디 땡주레스다. 매번 말이 야래 여다리 샤라 라레베 거니 중어리 진짜 인정 많아서 나오는 신기 되지 뭐네. 되미 장왕 그 주어디 야 말이지. 셰고도 가. 쇼저샤. 다디 내가디 양 자오셔 나리야. 다 자오셔 통만 잡지 니스트루디 대외이나 머리 집에 양시 칠천 머리가 왕게 애니 세바 도 센다 머리가 왕가 간다 애니 도시 남시 민수로 서고 디드마 요야 디드마스 다디 고 가서 쉬어야게 된대야라 주니 송샤 다디기도 스마 요야 디송 저진 시도르보디 so that the nigga moribo toya de and rapchi chopje naala kedi pungu tai na yela jibuji de sheso ki and dame ba di chik drop and dame thona and moribo to res shene di chik so that ne toju shuk cheshe de rapchi ni shu zhe de that di yi da re rapchi zhe de 어떤 지나리야 아니 타녀도 장생 되겐기 아니 좀더 뭐지 타녀도 장생 미시베 떠도디 차다르샤스 봐 아니 최선제 아니 뭐니 주베 최랑랑 뭐 아니 뭐 주지 예외이나 다시 심히 창조도 왔어 쟤네 아니 시달로도 드비나서 샤토 말에 쟤네 소저야 되라 고물로 봐 랜견이 동문이 그 거봐 그다 동이 그 따라 거봐 아니 동이 그뭐 동이 그 텐션 텐션 수부터네 랜견이 그거 그래서 진짜 싫은 날이요 전에 이노 동경연도 땡진 좀 좋아 되는 동문이도 되는 때는 더 버디 tinha umelaino 그저 띵중만이 초과해 보면 이제 동문만이 초과해 보면 노세네 어떤 통주 뒤견도와 저단 뒤콩 돌아라야 아니 그시 견내 제가 대마지 견 가서 더 개월은 시여만이 어떤 시소스한테 견도 잘해 간다 동버시 세네 또 송샤 너무 먼거나 대용도와 그러니까 용진지도 저럴 만도 스테이나 최근 시 공공 지시도 제 남기 서주 남한테서 제 제일 독서가 연대디만 송제 이 송비 쇼데 대참제가 민정 다섬线이 송이 구도가 어다 디 코디 아니 민거 왕기야 봐. 그래서 떡배 왕기야 봐. 간다 떡배 왕기야 되네. 다 디가가 보연데 그 실내가 싶어지셔. 다 디니 묘몽이 냐고 같이 치고 슬러베이나 아리안데 루루고 손날에 야라라 아리안데 아니 야 르르르와 지신도 띵무고를 내주데스 르르완데 아니 미고불서 오목을 켜요레스 미고불데 나와 오목을 켜요 말이 오목소소소리 르지 오목도 오목을 켜요레스 대신도 아니 띵무 대니 묘목 탐자를 켜요레스 단 묘목 탐자를 켰다는데 단 금들이니 타년도 랑자 미시베 아니 더두고서는 마도 수년도 묘모래 묘모 차라니샤 그다 민남적인 묘모스러도야 묘모소소소 지그게 진다로 메라메라 유튜브 직세 디디 하다 쉽게베 제가나 사샤요리 디무를 때는 중에 묘모지지 디무도 탐메데베 와야게 묘모지지 디모도 다 매대가 영향이 묘모인데 묘모신도 차와리 그래서 간다이네 지금 대사 그 이동원이야 디 이동 나온다게 제 뭐를 줘 랑가 천이 줘 되는지로 나가 요 나온다도 랑가 천이 줘 현배 턴에 잡게 되는 지기 죄송 근데 인도 차단래 차 쏘는 것도가 어디지 자 근데 인도 다 르르르와 지신도 띠무고를 내주듯이 디진이 뭐 담지 이제 띠무 좀 줘버렸어. 어느 띠무 좀이야 돼 가리 정보를 넣어이나 떼지대로 중앙강 통로 띠무 중문이었어. 대신 내가 끊긴들 땅도 통을 내버려서 쉽게 지금다 빼내가 전부도 와. 야 다가지 쉽게 나는 뒤송샤 산지 기술 고교수 강시 특성 경유 대에 동반이 땐데 니니 권을 이지자스 산지 송리야 지금 원도 주야 그치 아니 렌저 차치타 납사도 제디 거르베데 지금 다 외쳐 가서 이마치아서로 연두자네 산지 기송 고교수 신고를 지금 제디 태수미 여den에 되라 동반이 계신 땡중 그 땅게 못자윤데 엔 대는 배 지금 준생 상담 직선을 배 내버려야 되는 거지. 데이터네 아니 말아서 로파바디기 유 뭐는 저것은 난게 여러 나왔다도 신 대왕의 취미식 남도기 대왕의 차상지에서 드르르 만드셔도 되는데 내는 그 다와셔야 될 생일부터에 가다들 세우실 셔도 지부셔야 게 그나도 생일부 보라지 아무래도 생일부 보라지 거기 롬망그리야 아니 미 콩두산에 심시라 추den에서라 그게 럽저 접체 진짜 로칭이 싫으셔 아론백 지금 콩기 아니 나한테도 쓰도 콩기는 롬망고도 지금 추den에서라 바 디셔를 지금 로칭이 지금 또 심시야 지금 디시도 아니 심 추den에서 심 추세 시장께서 유대 믿고 싶은 통과를 했어. 이내 뭐였는지를 대서 구주 탐바 심 콩루상에 코랑 게 남도 그 쬐샤스. 뭐였는지 제메도 센사다디 심미지가 남도抓다서 따다서. 그래서 어디를 인도 대로서베다 가다 做年里主要땡중기 그다 가다 묘모는 누구야 봐다 진짜가 전에 내리 주야지 다디 리베도스파 주트야 셔베 인도 아니 남진나라 톱차 조 내리 패바 문도 디니나네 조 내리 튼 아니 내리 주비츠 덤베 롱라 비 이지니 투야지 차용도 아니 조요ton은 멜리치 패바 모두 주야가 털로 송시바 디에들 아니 다디 로베바다 다디 인기 로베 인기 삼네 이실이야 용거레스 조요ton은 멜리치 샹르쳐서 보고 있었대 그래도 안데 실제 송데 그냥 따다 로직도.
因此，色即是空，空即是色。这一种空性的内意，被龙树菩萨非常明确的阐述。
So with regard to the phrase in Heart Sutra form is emptiness, and emptiness is form, which regarding emptiness, Master Nagarjuna explains it very clearly when he says in his Mula Madhyamaka Karika, that the wisdom verse, fundamental wisdom verses of the Middle Way, where he says what is dependently arisen or originated, that is said to be empty, and that is the dependent designation, and that is the middle way. And so emptiness is when we say things are empty of it doesn't mean that we don't mean that things are not, there's nothing. It doesn't mean nothingness. So emptiness doesn't mean nothingness. Since things are dependently originated, therefore they lack any independent existence, and therefore they don't exist in and of themselves apart from being dependent. If things were not dependent, then the things exist and have some kind of essential existence of their own, then it should become clearer and clearer the more we delve into the nature of things. But that does not happen, and therefore what this shows is that dependent origination, that things, because things are dependently originated, there's nothing that exists as if they have some kind of solidity in them. And things are originated from by dependence on other factors. And therefore, Master, there is a commentary on the praise to the Buddha for teaching dependent origination, which was written by, the commentary written by Dalai Lama Rinpoche, where he mentions that by dependence, what is not discarded is that of emptiness, or the reality of things as it is. And by origination or arisal, what it shows is that the Buddha does not discard that of the conventional, worldly conventions. And therefore, when we say things are dependent or originated, that we have to understand that what is that meant by emptiness is dependent origination, and that things lack any independent existence. And so by understanding emptiness in the sense of dependent origination, then what one is able to do is do away with that of the extreme of nihilism. And when you understand emptiness in the sense of the dependence in meaning emptiness, then that does away with that of the extreme of permanence. And so with regard to emptiness, establishing emptiness, or there are different reasonings that are used, such as the reasoning of diamond splinters for establishing emptiness from the point of view of the cause, and then the reasoning of one, lack of one and many, looking at emptiness from the point of its nature, and then that of the refutation of arisal from things existent or non-existent, to establish the emptiness from the point of view of the results. And then on the reasoning of dependent origination is the reasoning which is called the king of reasonings, and because it actually looks at the emptiness from the point of view of all three, the cause, the nature, and that of the result. And so what we have to understand is when we say things are empty, or so when the Heart Sutra says emptiness is form, so that sneezing is to wake you up if you fall asleep. And so emptiness doesn't mean nothingness. and that things are exist by way of dependence on other factors. And so with regard to understanding the emptiness well, we need to, it's important to go study that of Master Nagarjuna's Madhyamaka Karika. First, we need to study in order to understand how we are brought up into this samsara, the cycle of existence. We need to study chapter 26, which goes through the 12 links of dependent origination, beginning with that of ignorance. So it says, because of being obscured by ignorance, therefore we come into this kind of the samsaric existence. And then it goes through the rest of the links of dependent origination, such as karma, name and form and so forth, up to that of aging and death. And so in order to reverse that process or to overcome the samsaric existence, what we need to do is to overcome that of ignorance first. By overcoming ignorance, then you are able to overcome the rest of the links of the 12 links of dependent originations, such as karma, consciousness, and so forth. And therefore, to avert this or overcome the ignorance, we need to study. In order to learn about overcoming this the ignorance, we need to study the 18th chapter. And so 18th chapter deals with or teaches that of selflessness. And therefore it says, when you see selflessness, the ignorance will be dispelled or overcome. And the most important chapter in the Madhyamaka Karika is that of chapter 24. In chapter 24, what Master Nagarjuna deals with is the objections from the Buddhist realists who say that if things were to lack any essential existence in and of themselves, then the existence itself cannot be talked about. There cannot be causes and conditions bringing about results and so forth. And then Master Nagarjuna replies to them, and then he says in his reply, the realists have not understood the nature or the essence of the dependent origination emptiness. They have not understood the meaning of emptiness, and they have not understood that of the purpose of teaching of emptiness as well. And so he makes the things clear that things without any thing having any essential independent existence, still we can't explain the causality and so forth. And then in chapter 24 he summarizes his position by saying what is dependent originated is said to be empty, and that is said to be dependently designated, and that is the middle way. And since there is nothing that is not dependently originated, therefore there is nothing that is not empty. And so this is also the teaching that we find in the Perfection of Wisdom Sutras as well. Because in Perfection of Wisdom Sutras, the Buddha goes through the different objects, such as those that form up to omniscience. And then, having dealt with them, each of these objects, using them as the subject to establish emptiness, then at the end of each section, the Heart Sutra and the Perfection of Wisdom teachings say, all of these are merely nominal and merely in mere name and concepts. And so what this shows is that things exist by way of, or by the force of names or labels and conceptions. afflictions. And apart from that, nothing else. And then with regard to overcoming our ignorance, with regard to ignorance, how it brings about the rest of the mental afflictions and so forth, we find it very clearly mentioned in Master Aryadeva's 400 verses, where he says, just as the physical faculty permeates all other all other faculties, likewise, sensory faculties, likewise, their ignorance or confusion also abides in all permeates all mental afflictions. And then he says the one who has overcome this. Then Master Aryadeva says that called just as the physical, what this means is that the other sensory faculties such as eye, the visual faculty, or visual sense faculty and the ear sense faculty and so forth do not permeate one another, and but that of the physical faculty permeates all other faculties such as visual faculty and so forth. And then with regards to how the ignorance permeates all other the mental afflictions, in the 400 verses, it also mentions that the commentary on 400 verses by Master Chandrakirti, it mentions that there are those of the mental afflictions which are concomitant with the ignorance, and there are those which arise as a result of the ignorance. And so when you believe or assert that things have some objective independent existence, accordingly you produce some ignorance based on that, and then there is the rest of the afflictions also arising. And in order to overcome ignorance itself, Master Aryadeva in his 400 verses says, by seeing dependent origination, no ignorance will arise in you. And with all endeavor, one should first give teachings on dependent origination. And so what this shows is that with regard to the very hidden phenomena that are very obscure to us, that we don't have access to with our own sense faculties to realize regarding the teaching of the Buddha. And for those who have doubt about these kind of phenomena, then they should be led through the teaching of the Buddha, through teaching on emptiness. And so usually when I explain these, I say that I tell people that when we have, because of ignorance, that fundamental ignorance, which actually is a distorted view, because of this, the exaggerated outlook on things, such as called absolutely beautiful or ugly and so forth, also arise in us. And accordingly, the attachment, anger, hatred, and so forth also arise. And so with regard to this exaggerated outlook on things that I usually I usually refer to a scientist also, explaining or describing the same kind of process happening in people. One of the American scientists that I know is Aaron Beck, and he is somebody who has been helping people with psychiatric problems, and especially to do with anger. And so when he once told me that when people become angry, they see the person or thing that they're angry at as being absolutely negative, but then the 90% of that negativeness is their own mental projection. And so that exactly tallies with what Master Nagarjuna Jonah is saying that things are exaggerated. We have exaggerated outlook on things.
But long long say you did the Mabush tone, right? And singing must have share. Long she said, don't say, a car, something. Because she was she would dig on the chin and the Yamarba. Long long because but Nyoba Charuto.
And so, as we all have the experience that when we are angry at somebody, we are totally mad, and we say all kinds of things to the person. Whereas, once the anger has subsided and we come to our, own ordinary nature, then we feel that, oh, what we have done is wrong. And so this is what happens with anger. And so where you see the object absolutely negative. And, therefore, it is very clear that with our own mental attitudes, mental conceptions, we actually exaggerate things. So Master Dharmakirti also says that when we understand the main thrust of the teaching of the Buddha, the rest of the teachings can be inferred.
Just as Your Holiness has advised us to associate ourselves with the concept of emptiness and bodhicitta, we try to do that, but due to time limitations, it becomes quite difficult in our way of life. So how would you advise this on? Would you advise the Buddha being very compassionate, will try to explain a difficult concept in the easiest possible way. But that doesn't mean that concept is easy. So we need more effort. So in the beginning, particular concept might seem very difficult, but that doesn't mean that it wouldn't become easier on developing familiarity and by constantly habituating yourself with the concepts and the reasons. So you will reach a stage through constant habituation and practice. You will reach a stage when you can really speak with confidence or think with confidence that probably now this must be the case. So you can develop some kind of conviction. We have received empowerments and initiations from His Holiness, Your Holiness. So we try to keep up with the commitments, but sometimes we doze off, and due to our busy life schedule, we somehow forget to do them in a day or so. So can we make up for those by doing them again in the next days?
And is there any way to confess the downfalls accrued from not doing commitments properly?
그저 저도 마셔봐 시투나 그봐 아니 틀으려면은 저게 아니 수구대 아니 라마랑 마팀 아니 동상체 아니 동방안에 도지스베 굴려 기도 도창 기도 그래서 어디 뒤뒤니 사과사 다른 상황들에서 대자고 서로 풀베서 던진서 그냥 그도 되니 야 계약 계니 대바도도 장셔네
So for those who have a very busy schedule in a day and feel difficult to do the commitments properly, you can somehow try to find a time to do the 6-session Guru Yoga, which compromises of all the commitments pertaining to Tantra and Bodhisattva practice. So at the end ritual of the 6-session Guru Yoga, there's a phase where you dissolve where you dissolve the Lama into you, and then becoming indivisible, you arise in the state, you dissolve into the state of emptiness, and then from the state of emptiness, you arise into Vajradhara. So at that time, while you arise into Vajradhara, you can also arise into a particular deity of your practice, such as Guha Samaj, Vajrabhairava, or Yamantaka, or so forth, and then do the particular recitation of mantra of that specific deity. So that might somehow make up for the commitments. That might suffice for the commitments. Your Holiness, you have stated the view of emptiness as supporting practice for the practice of bodhicitta. I didn't follow the question properly.
I think this is 시럽의 청주를 믹. 아니 인지 심장을 믹스 해서도가. 다 지저스 뭐 오늘 보이나? 냐라. 아니 동리기 따에 타바스는지 용야 유대바. 델레페 네바소시. 다 드리기 아니 청주 퇴니기 로티 터네 아니 난게 테리베 심자 선제지 청주 퇴대불로 그 사바지 지금 오늘 보이는 돈이 있다에 아니 청주 웅마천이 아니 청주 퇴니로 용구야래 지금 오늘 뛰어보이는 돈이 있다 용 아니 이지미지 청주 무슨 교리 깨벌로 돈이 있다 고야 말에 지라마 집에 청주 사바야래.
So the question probably was with respect to those who are unable to grasp the view of emptiness. So how do you then carry on with your practice of compassion and bodhicitta when the view of emptiness is so difficult for you? So that must be the question, and His Holiness response. Basically, when I speak of the view of when we speak of wisdom, during my teaching, I've said when we say wisdom is directed towards enlightenment. So wisdom focuses on enlightenment, whereas compassion focuses on sentient beings. So when we focus on the practice of compassion, basically it's very good if it's complemented by wisdom. However, it's only for the intelligent beings who are able to do this practice of complementing your practice of bodhicitta by wisdom of emptiness. For those who are not that intelligent, it's not necessary that you have to have the view of emptiness in order to practice bodhicitta. We have bodhisattvas who are who are in the lower school of thoughts or lower tenets who still practice bodhicitta.
다양 동의 오늘 지다 내가 이주성 거 과다 폐지 남부 문인계 폐지 용토래 특이세 상지 기술 고주체 강시 태좀견 요와스 태좀견이 미디 지 가서 그러게 상지가 숨거래 사지고 이지치고 말받아 저들이 인도 지 남부 문인계 저들이 다 떠주다 저리샤 상동에 너는 관점 피식시라 상동에 저때 뭔구지 이 띵중사데 가우샤치도 와 저들이 인도 다이네 동리기에 냠뇽 야다 튀중기 싫어 잠다 배지긴 거지 남부변에 그리고 거지 섬중에 전부 용면도 다 섬중 거로야 차토를 제바래 저 섬중 싫어야 거로 차토를 제바쳐요 다디 배지야 지 선호 속에 잡된 또서 매나 그다음 또서 가고치면로 당내 타션 셈이신다.
The question must have been with respect to a view of emptiness. Can non-Buddhists also have built up the view of emptiness within them? So His Holiness response, as far as emptiness is concerned, basically, as far non-Buddhists, Buddhists and non-Buddhists alike can also have some kind of vague understanding of the concept of emptiness. As I told you before, as stated in the text, that those who are in 400 verses, those who find the difficult points of Buddha's teaching, for them the practice is to think on the view of emptiness, and this will somehow bring a settlement with respect to the other teachings that are quite obscure. So that means emptiness is a common mode of knowledge. So, and also as far as the content physicians are concerned, they have somehow understood the absence of any external intrinsic object or objective existence. So these all comes from the association with the concept.
기타네 가다 친구기 냠 진소 탑지 차디디 냠는 전에 디디 갑자기 예배 전에 아니 동이 고민도能够创造一东北的广播社的这个样的，西周年末了，这个的，搞得长久个是个夹定有这个给东尼的维系，西周个嘛的，西周年末写出来要嘛的。
So the kind of physicians, somehow, although they may not necessarily be Buddhists, they have understood the absence of any externally existent object. So these all come from their own way of reasoning and constant thinking. Now, however, in order to understand, not just understand emptiness intellectually, but through inferential to gain inferential understanding of emptiness, you have to constantly habituate with the concept and then practice the concept in order to gain conviction. And to reach that kind of conviction, you must need enough merit, for which you have to associate yourself with the practice of Buddhism. So there is a tradition among the Chinese Buddhists, or in Chinese Buddhism, people often pray to be born in Purim in your next lives. So should we do this, or should we concentrate more on study and practice? So His Holiness says, of course, there is nothing wrong in praying to be born in Purim, but you also need to amass enough merit, the proper causes and conditions. You need to generate the proper causes and conditions to be born in Purim.
any page, love the surety. Shall the shiny, sorry. Then you do.
Lujan. Nagabudi.
Other, a dizzy. Then you ultimately mean. Check him. Ada, because I'm going to be that was given because I'm sure I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure it's been on here, soon to what. Any, there was just solo, you will change some of the Nady come from the Zambuli will leading Leah, any, leading tower shows and Melon Jungiores Yada. That dear, not limited to Yari. Zambulimba, Nady come from this.
In one of the tantric texts, it says that even bodhisattvas pray to be born in our earthly realm, our world, in our human world. So that is associated with the practice of tantra, because our human body is really the best vessel to practice tantra.
No, yeah. Any, last question.
What else?
最后一个问题。
We are thinking of starting the a tradition of engaging in extensive classical study of the classical text. So, what do you propose, Your Holiness? What do you advise us?
So that Jana Turkesa loved the Chimotini, Giganti, Tonachikua. So the chance of the and the Benazashiro sorrow, the Paju Woman Juba around the Jahina Yorwa. So that is the ready, nearly Jahina Yevokora, chance of Lotion Chet, and Jahina Yete, Sikasha, Koma, every Yavina, Pui Turche. This Lotion Shina. And go very big, Yanji, talk to Chewa, the talk to Shingra, talk to Chewa, young Koyo, go Galigli, Yon Chogro, machine.
So, His Holiness response. In 1959, when I was in China, probably I learned some Chinese, and I am sure I know more than 1,000 Chinese words. But I have no idea about the vocabulary with respect to the Buddhist terms, the Buddhist terms in Chinese. So I would say it's good if you were able to engage with the professors at the universities in China. There is a growing interest in Buddhism among them. And then also you have many translations already there in your Chinese tradition. For example, the Fundamental Wisdom and the auto commentary of Engaging in the Middle Way. These are all already there in Chinese. So try to study them, and should you somehow come across some terms which are difficult to explain, then try to compare them with the Tibetan translations. And somehow, when it comes to editing, then we can also help you in this regard.
Any commander to the Jetuche. Sakana, there is a Gayrangatone, Shunji love to us.
In the past, when the Tibetan king Tizondizin sought advice, Shantarakshita advised him, then since you have the Tibetan script and language, in its complete form. It's good for you to translate the text and then study Buddhism through your own language rather than relying on Sanskrit. Likewise, since you have your own Chinese language, it's proper. It's better if you study Buddhism through your own Chinese language rather than relying on the Tibetan. So I would advise you that if you really want to study Chinese, study Buddhism, the best language for you as being Chinese is Chinese and not Tibetan. So you do not need to study Tibetan in order to study Buddhism.
당도 우미고를 찾아나 색색제일 좀더
法师罗尼东중일을 교사 지디 하나 천일을 보고 하나 구루니마스 로열데 빠르게
wants to know if the clear words by Chantrakriti have been translated into Chinese. The translation responded that there are two versions of the translation. So all the 6 texts of Nagarjuna are translated into Chinese. The 70 centers is there. The reasoning is there.
부터버리다.
Buddha is being translated right now.
아니, 우문주고 예배체, 주보랑지 예배체.
So Madhyamika is there. Its auto commentary is also there. 400 verses, his holiness are same, and his response is also there.
10개번 잡아, 나와잡아 잡아대.
어디요?
But the commentary
계속 실수가
verses by Chantrakriti is not there. So these texts are very important. You should think of translating them.
刚刚尊者
배시 계속 실수인데 이날 매듭을 줄 결국에
So those texts which are not available in Chinese translation, you should try to translate them into Chinese. And the translation that are already available in Chinese, you should study them.
벌거완도 히말라야 리규 나고즈 코즈 초중시셔. 아티나 레거싱다 구루지 때도 왔다. 체니 코즈 있네 히말라야 리규를 여대베 고바티도 참을로 롬니카 롬중 그 띠네시 소야게 코즈 또 스미기도와 셔시도와 그 생각하면 코즈 토리 나에 나치 사실 빼야오레스 전에 들은 인도 다 그런저 지금 로존시아데 빼게시물이 아니 미게 그 소수도스 때네 야고르라 찬스 지금 공상으로도 되다 된게 뒤주 그돌이야 찬스 지금 쳐줘 가셔가셔 루루스체 아니 돌린체 구두체 지금 있는 배도 사용 거다.
So last year I met a group of people who have formed some kind of Himalayan Buddhist association. So one of their main agendas is to, or one of their visions is to ensure that the monasteries in those Himalayan regions become learning institutes, not just traditional monasteries. And I really appreciated them. I highly praised them at that time when we met. So likewise, I also request you to study Buddhism thoroughly individually or as groups. So individually, you also have to make your efforts. But when you have free time on your vacations and holidays, you should gather together as groups and then engage in discussions on whatever you have learned. So if this, in this way, if you could carry on with your study, that would be really ideal. So the Himalayan Buddhist Association was being Guru Rinpoche Amet, who is also here, was also a member of that association, which now has a good
시바kim 샤모체 토스토스모도 네마 들간다 땡데 오문주비 시로 차상시 차르충나 상마 찬수 자서 이제한지 제 오문주비 시로 차상시 통주리 오문주비 시로 네 윤지도상 텐지도상 거든요 해 쉬우리 우문주부 원도제 아니 공부하세 동두셔모 드즈체디 유즈비도 쉬우리 유즈비 센스티 미냐르 부체스니 공부물라마 네 샤나바라지 콩쿠군네 몽구샤 유즈비 셈버리 우크리아 시 공부 이부터 체디 어디 그래야 미냐르 부군네 셈버리 자상가
接下来是传授录中论的这个。
And so we are here mainly for the teaching on Madhyamaka Avatara, entering the middle way by Master H.H.THE. And so because we have here one Bhutanese Rinpoche, I would like to begin the teaching from the beginning of the text, as he has not, he was absent last year. And so I hope to complete the teaching on this text, and this time just giving you the explanatory transmission of the Madhyamaka Avatara. And so I received the teaching on Madhyamaka Avatara and its auto-commentary from my Bhikshu ordination precept master, and also I received teachings on Tsongkhapa's commentary on the illumination or the elucidation of the thoughts, and also Kirubji's the 1,000 doses, and he received it from Minyang Rinpoche.
다 전투주전이 시우직 부다고 그래도가 다 뭐든 동의를 받디 아니 오문주가 가다가 자시로 조체 다 자시로 위 레베나네 그 공도시번은 저거 뭔고 예배 나라 다 아니 남주 용자 다 이 오문주가디 시라가 뭔고 매버체 딘두 처부시다 개시부시 and 우문주고 주고랑 지죠. 자상가 근데 우문주고디 장주 시동 차상 타야시 최상의 우문저 좀 찬수. 저거도
So with regards to the teaching of the Buddha, the perfection of wisdom teachings, and it has its what is known as the hidden or implicit content and explicit content. The implicit content of the progression along the path is commented by that of Master Maitreya's Ornament of Clear Realization, which is a very important text to study for understanding the perfection of wisdom teachings of the Buddha. And also regarding the explicit content, we have Master Nagarjuna's Mula Madhyamaka Karika, and with regard to the commentaries on Mula Madhyamaka Karika, the most prevalent or well-known commentary, which is not too long, neither too long nor too short, is Master Chandrakirti's Madhyamaka Avatara, and he also has written the auto-commentary to it. And I am thinking of, I hope to complete the teaching on Madhyamaka Avatara this time. So the title of the text in Sanskrit and Tibetan are written, and then the salutation of the translator to Manjushri. And then
차원주 집에 로주 다니는 중에나 교수로 까마냐는 기심을 세면 진짜로 로주 좀 가져라고 저 튀내봐 그래도 점을 미치나 다 오모십집에 나라 냠리샤 dom경인도 전에 손남에 뭐 당불도 바도 다는도 벌지 탐을 다시 군도 뭐 디시전에 개발 인사 도면 50견도 와 내가 모두 주야 주소 주고레스 저는 모두 타바시 세상 모두 타베 애니 교 아니 메기주 대가라던 모두 야고지 타베리야 아니 창매동아 아니 로수 미치바 로다 로수 단 세다 로수 미치바 네 차와 미치바 다 소주바다 마질련의 로임들 이게 차와디 이게 미주나 친서체 다한테 지금 밀고 가다 서로 지금 밀려 유지하 서로 되게 다 차와 미치야 근데 최초가 되네 그게 좀 되네 나 잡아 공부했어 다 뒤디 모두 주주 사지 뭐지 저나 송도가 왜 계속 그러셔 딱 먼저 토야 그 교수 차상적 조사를 쉬고 바로 다녀도 그렇지 싹 딱 먼저 류쟁기 싫어도 남지기 싫어 되기도 안에 독립권이 그다음에 다도 집어도 놔야 다한테 다도 집어도야 그 독립권이야 돼 손에 우서 다침도 쳐도 잡으시는 윤주자네 아니 시주기니 몰라 계속시 용기야리 돈이 다 거봐 연수 소리 주기 겁내 윤도 타만 다시 군도 와스 대대로다 람람라겐티 아니 뭐네 캐바레 세송샤 아로 레벨고 공에 딘다고 디더 집어해 사진도 와 자다디 오마 쉽게 봐 시진데 좋아해 나들이 지지게 지면 들가서 강제랑 저기 퇴내가 진짜 정말 매치는 양서로는 상황을 달리시는 한 걸로 지지게 지면 담자는 수림 지도는 이제 수림 나는 저기 상황 소소게 오는 거 숨기더라도 그래서 계산을 개발하고 모두는 수림 내셔면 진짜 저도 뜻이 나나마다 텐시 들어 수령 관계 되니 대저부터 텐시 내면 돼 강시한가 강로 봉셔와 수도 미보여는 수림 지점바에 바로 시시시 수로 차고 동을 지된데 계산 나올래 저 시민 시바이 배송 좀 단지 좀 맨데요 당근 뒤한다는 시신을 왜 이게 동을 먼저 숨기고 이보고 시제비시 말을 세고면 왜주신 산에 숨번데 왜저번에 디지 사월을 뜻이 니도 상대 나와서 개들내면 주고 가이때 류제 샤니 류제 유는 상례는 제가 요즘한테 서버처럼 하버게 in order to be able to with regard to the 지금 잠수해야 돼. 너한테 meritorious
actions
당연히 잠수 못 맞대. 다른 미 잠수 기도구나. 와다데 지상 패배 다른 미니 시장이야 쳐져라. 아니 다른 미니 잠수 기도는 다들 잠수 로장배다 잠수. 어다배 가다 전주 쓰면 되게 잠수다 뒤쳐야 돼. 뒤 계속 그래도 와. 어제네 대리 개진님이 주번가이 대 류제산이 류제 유는 상을 좀 하고 다음에 저는 신주 사고를 가지고 가고 가지 쉬면 소년을 통한테 되어서 내가 지금 될 거나 될 거는 지신도 없지 지금 누가 좀 못한다 내가 지금 될 거나
such as giving up alcohol
콘도 제가 있는 될 거는 지신도 없지 지시 될 거는 내가 듣는데
deceiving others and so forth, and then also honoring our rules and giving respect, giving respect to others, and then giving love. And then in the and then finally having gained a very powerful merits or one also
조상계기 전주 최근에 그냥 수명을 되는 지대보 미국은 뒤 상계기 이전에 벌지 상대에서 상대면시도 저시도 뭐 세번 대적다도 지대보 대양
such a
다른
person
지된
is a
바이니
wise one.
대변지사 저번 진수수도 배우지 대화시고 힘만 올라가 선을 지수야 선수유는 꾸이교 개에서 보니만은 외신들 정도는 한번이다 세션도 너무 좀 뭔가만 산지 신도 나오니까 처음에 우모는 저번에 심기가 숨어 연대모 주주들도 선을 소위 주주 강도 봐 이거 산지 시바 왜네 좋아하고 전에 디시 살아 저거 장주 처럼我们了解呗那上节吧让都当我当的要是我们这个孙几位西部等你是真的跟你讲个是老板嘛那么什么叫做西部多了新就开吧我们这个孙几位我吧我都说过你们说什么的这不是你说人权你说新人那边我不讨论有其实老人说过得了都明天就不去那边有就去吧这些这样热明年元旦浪的电影着其实我弄的现在这个因为这都我其他那边路线这边加那说结尾就弄当把年前呢拿到说高完样的样子说高了就前面没里是绿泡泡汤就不干也不得了这个3年了也3个月今年年尾这边呢电的得了特别推荐单不差得了这些是这个原则中大多数人样当然那么只不动完就是你这单不是社会工作第一个往这种着着我说我是做不清楚什么弄了够实际就是说了给别人人就是都改变成了统计呗
Devoted to the perfect bodhisattva's skilled
人就是
ways
说
of
改
the
变成
found
了
the
统计
vows,
呗
he will
天
gradually
天都
attain
是
the
让
meaning
念
of
不
extremely
记
joyful, therefore those
他
aspiring
等我
thus
早
should
起了
hear
大了我一
of
下来没
this
事
path.
往这个教育多啊等他这
And
里
then verse
你
number
这里
8
就
down
是考虑
is a
你本来就
commentary
就没
on
把它
this
考虑但是这里就原来把
Karika's
原
first
原文
verse
结
where
尾就
it
完了就
says
这个
neither
第三呢结尾要说到我
there's
原
no
来
birth
有过了说那你
from
给我你
self
有些
nor
稍微
from
是那
other
说我
and
如
so
果结果
forth.
你就
So
其实
verse
你
number
一
8
直那么
reads
就
not
结尾
created by
其实
itself,
稍
how
微
can
给
it be
他的
created
没
by
有
another?
靠到
But
是
created
没
by
得
both
觉得
what
没有
exists without a cause. There is no purpose
给
in
这个给他
something
我
already
上
arisen
现在
arising
这里是
again. What is already
我
arisen
呢
cannot
这是
arise
对
again.
今年
If
现
you
在
truly
可以
believe
去
something
稍微
already
有之
created
前没
could create
稍微现在
production
如
such
果
as
是这种
germination
没
could
吧
not occur
让
in
他在
ordinary
几个
experience,
现在
or
有
a
个
seed
提醒
would
提醒
be
都
recreated until the
这
end
样
of
速度有
existence.
提醒
What
你看
sprout
着
would
呢
ever
这
cause
打进瓜呀
to cease?
是吧但我说
So these
这
are
长时不是这是打进这个这个让手当的吧
refuting
他做
production from
可是
self,
这样他是这个应该从个
which is asserted
对
by
不是啥是谁要的的
the
香港这这个是讲是绿
Sankhya
的
school.
呢这个啥
空梦中
矿木中或者矿木中前年可能还是绿的被布置绿的这个刚才这个是能有路咱们这些个仓矿木中拿落来呀第一个就
Within
是
the
个
chromosome or DNA,
才
there
有
is
这个
the
我就
footprint of
没
each
同
and
就
every
就是
hair
这
on
个
our
第
body and the
矿木
different
中没得
parts
没得
and
有
so
的
forth. And
这
so
个当然没得
each
没得
person's
这矿木中
chromosomes are
有没
different.
有的
The
是
structure of chromosome are
那
different.
你把它
And
这
or DNA,
这这个能有的
chromosome.
하람 그 내고를 보게 되는 게 디니다 지금 뭐 세네 용대에 소리지고 그러고도 싶도 와. 자다이네 이 등급제들 상당히인데 이거 말이시 사용해.
So when you see these chromosomes having the footprint of our different organs and hairs and so forth on our body, it would look like what the Sankhya school are saying to be true. Because they say the footprint is already there, therefore we have the different features and so forth.
각자 타락한 적이 봐. 그래서 저들이 싸우 쉬우 차용하지. 빼개서 버리셔. 뭐 단도 그도 빼개서 버리. 기승을 겨도 이거를 저 님이 사회선도 또 보셔도 겨워 이르죠. 지도 뒤니기도 나버지고 쉬워. 지주 사회기로 타되고 이런 가도는 매달려 줘도 넣어요.
So a sprout different from its instigating seed with a distinct form, color, flavor, potency, and ripening. But then not exist if the selfish substance of previous vanishes. The previous vanishes as it assumes another nature. What remains of its suchness? So it's almost commenting on verse number 9 of this chapter earlier. If in an ordinary experience seed is not different from sprout. You could have perception of neither seed nor sprout, and if they were the same, when seeing the sprout, you should also see the seed. Thus, your thesis is unacceptable, because the result is seen upon the appearance of the cause. To say they are the same is not accepted even in ordinary experiences. So verse number 14, down rejects that of production from another. So there's something to be created based on something other than itself. You could have deep darkness arising from a flame, another could arise. Anything could arise from anything, and anything that is not a creating agent would be equally other. And objection, verse number 15, perfectly capable of being created by other, it is certainly called the effect, capable of creating, although other, it is indeed the cause, containing within the same continuum and created by its creator. It is not as if rice could sprout from barley. Verse number 16, reply. Barley, lotus, and kimchuka flour, and so forth, are neither regarded as creators of rice, sprout, nor as having that potential, nor being the same continuum, nor as being similar in that same fourfold manner. A rice seed too is other. Since the sprout and the seed do not exist simultaneously, there cannot be otherness. So how can the seed be other? Thus, as creation of sprout from the seed is not established, rejecting this premise of production from other. Reject this premise, and like the arms of a pair of scales, rising and descending simultaneously. Creation arises as the creator ceases if simultaneous, but that this is not the case. When arising, still the process of production, still in the process of production, it is non-existent. When ceasing, although in the process of disintegration, it still exists. How does this compare to the movement of a pair of scales? And when no agent of creation, this makes no sense at all. I consciousness existing simultaneously with its creator, I, and so forth. So from verse number 23 shows the two truths, the conventional and the ultimate truth. It reads, all entities can be seen truly as or deceptively. So whatever there is has two natures. The domain of perfect seeing is suchness. False seeing has been termed all-concealing truth by the Buddha. Verse number 31, verse 32. An ordinary person who merely has sown his seed will exclaim, I created this child. People also think, I planted this tree. Hence, even in ordinary experience, is there no creation from other. And verse number 34 down rejects that of the inherent characteristics of things. If inherent characteristics were the basis of phenomena, phenomena would be destroyed through refutation of their inherent existence, and emptiness would become the cause of these entities' destruction, as this is absurd. Entities do not inherently exist. So verse number 36 says, with the analysis of such as neither creation from self nor from another possible is possible. And so here there is a quotation, quoted from the Ratnakuta Sutra, where it says that when we say things are empty, it's not like a temple being empty of monks or monastics. Empty things are like such as reflections, namely composites, are generally accepted. Likewise, from something empty, such as a reflection, consciousness of its characteristics may be created. So things have no inherent existence. They are therefore dependently originated. And we say that the cause is related or dependent on its cause, because we talk about the cause, the thing being a cause of something which is yet to arise, and therefore in relation to that which will arise later, it is a cause, and therefore nothing whatever has any independent existence. Everything is relative. And therefore, between the valid perception or valid cognition and its object, we do not need to establish the valid cognition with another, because of another reason, but because of the object itself, we have a valid cognition, and therefore the valid cognition and the object of the valid cognition are mutually dependent. So, verse number 43 says, existence of all grounds, or the alaya vijnana, an existing individual, merely the skandhas exist. Such instructions address those for whom the profound teachings are incomprehensible, and so the Buddha, out of his compassion, gave such teachings to such beings. So when Master Nagarjuna wrote his Madhyamaka Karika, there was no thorough explanation of the or detailed explanation of the Chittamatra view or philosophical view, but it developed later. So although free from the view of Tantric recollection, the Buddha still would say, I and my teaching likewise, while things have no inherent nature. In the context of expedient truth, he spoke of the relative existence. And then the objection, without objects and no subject to be seen, the threefold world is fully realized as consciousness alone. Thus the Bodhisattva dwells in wisdom, realizing mere consciousness as such. And so these are refutations of the Chittamatra view. As wind agitates the sea, stirring up waves on the water surface, from the seed of all, so-called all ground, or alaya, mere consciousness arises through its own potential. So since the Chittamatras say that nothing externally exists, but everything is in the nature or essentially that of the mind, Therefore, essence of dependent nature becomes the cause of imputed existence of phenomena manifesting with nothing to grasp externally, inherently existing. It is not the domain of elaborations about existence. And then the reply to this is, if there is an example of an intrinsic mind without an object, you say as in a dream. But when I look at my mind when it is dreaming, it has no intrinsic existence. Hence, you have no valid example. If there is a memory of the dream when awakening, and that mind exists, then the external objects of a dream should exist in the same way, because remembering the dream, you may think I saw in the same way. The external world of the dream should also exist when awake. An objection: while sleeping, there is no I consciousness. In the absence of external objects, there is only mind consciousness, whose manifestation are grasped at external. As in the dream, so it is when awake. Reply: however, just as an external phenomena in your dreams are unborn, likewise mind too is unborn. The I, its objects, the mind they create, all three are false. These three are also false in regard to hearing and so forth. As in dreams, so also in this waking state, the phenomena are false. There is no mind, no objects, and no sense faculties. In ordinary experience, just as while awake, when sleeping, these above three seems to exist. Once awake, they do not. Awakening from the sleep of ignorance is similar. Objection: the consciousness of someone with diseased eyesight and the floating hairs that appear due to that disease do exist as non-external phenomena. And reply: these both are true for that mind, but for the clear seeing, both are false. In a dream, the perceived forms are not external. They arise from the maturation of their own potential within the perceiving mind. Likewise, when we awaken, there exists a non-external external phenomena. And reply: verse number 65, as in a dream state, without the organ of eye, the mental cognition of colors does occur. Accordingly, in the absence of eye senses, the actual seed of consciousness is maturing. Why should visual perception not occur to the blind? And verse number 66 says, if the potential for the sixth consciousness matures in the dream and disappears upon awakening, if this potential of the sixth consciousness does not exist when the blind person awakes, why should it exist when he is dreaming? And 67, thus the absence of I is not the cause. For dreams, sleep is not the cause. You must concede that even in dreams, things perceived and the perceiving eye are causes for the conception of a false subject, as the Chittamatra answers and statements seem to be mere propositions. This dispute is settled. The Buddha has never taught that anything inherently exists. A yogi meditating on the instructions of his teacher sees the earth as covered in bones. Still, in the three he sees are uncreated. The three he sees are uncreated, and this is thought to be false of conceptualization. Just as whatever mental objects you may have, such as meditation on ugly, so verse number 80, says conventional truth is means, absolute is truth in the aim. So Master Nagarjuna also says, without relying on the conventional terms, one cannot realize the ultimate truth. Whoever is unaware of this distinction will enter in inferior paths because of wrong conceptions. Next verse, this dependent nature which you assert as real, we do not accept even as an all-concealing truth. On the other hand, for the sake of the ultimate fruit, we have stated that non-existent exists, merely to conform to the ordinary experience. If just as for the arhats who have abandoned their aggregates and dwell in peace, their aggregates would not exist in ordinary experience, I also would not claim they exist in ordinary experience. If you think you do not contradict ordinary experience, then try refuting ordinary people. You should debate with those perceiving ordinary experience, and I will rely on whoever is the stronger. The courageous mind advancing towards realization realizes the three worlds as mere consciousness. This refutes a permanent self as a creator, and he realizes the creator is mind only. In order to increase the faculties of the intelligent, and to cut through misconceptions, the omniscient one in the Lanka-Avatara Sutta vanquished the towering mountain-like view of the Tirthikas with his Vajra speech. In their treatises, the Tirthikas propound a person and so forth as a creator. Not having seen such a creator, the victorious one spoke of the creator of the world as being mind only. Just as awakened to suchness refers to awakened one, when in some sutras the Buddha spoke of mind only. When speaking to the world about mind's importance, the point of these sutras was not to deny form. The sutras, verse number 94, says the sutras teaches external appearances non-existent and so forth, and 95 says the teacher taught this this is expedient meaning. And so even in the sutras it is said that certain teachings cannot be taught, accepted as being definitive teachings, because they were taught due to certain reasons and purpose for some followers of the Buddha. And so it says, which is also proven logically, like in the Lanka-Avatara Sutta, other sutras too, such as the Sutra Unraveling the Thought, elucidates the expedient meaning. The Buddhas taught that with non-existence of object, elimination of knower is easily achieved. Without object, the perceiver is disproven, and therefore objects were first refuted. To know the categories of scriptures understand that sutras expanding other than the meaning of suchness teach expedient truth. These are to be interpreted, while those explaining emptiness teach certain truth. Creation from both self and other is also not reasonable. As the defects already explained would arise. Such creation accords with neither ordinary experience nor suchness, as creation from neither self nor other could be proven. If creation had no cause whatever, everything could arise from anything. To have a harvest, there would be no need, as usual, for the hundreds of things such as gathering the seeds. So if things were to have any existence from their own side, then we would have to face we would not have to face the challenges of whether things arise from self, other, both, and or without any cause. But when you actually do assert such thing and you are put under the test of reasoning, I mean, it's not easy to hold on to that position. And so, as it said in this text, that things do not have any objective or independent existence, but apart from that, things exist by way of worldly convention. So when we say things are merely in name, it does not mean that the thing itself, which is named, does not exist. So conventional existence is established by three criteria. One is that it is renowned in the world and that it is not undermined by another worldly convention, and that it is also not undermined by the ultimate analysis into the nature of things as well. And so these are the three criteria for establishing things to exist conventionally. So if sentient beings were void of any cause, then as the color and scent of sky Utpala, they could not be perceived. Yet, as ordinary experience is perceived vividly, know that just like mind, the ordinary experience arises from causes. These elements you conceive as a primary nature, yet they possess no such nature. How could someone with such thick mental obscuration ever properly know what is beyond this life, and so forth? So verse number 109. If you can see that a dream, a Gandharva city, a mirage, a hallucination, a reflection, and so forth are truly uncreated and as if non-existent, why do you insist phenomena consequently could not be seen? If in suchness these similes are uncreated, why in ordinary experience are they not a child of a barren woman, something unseen? Therefore, this objection is not definitive. The intrinsic creation of a barren woman's child exists neither in suchness nor in ordinary experience. Such is the nature of all entities. Neither in suchness nor ordinary experience are they created. For this reason, the teacher said, all phenomena are primordially peaceful, uncreated, and naturally beyond suffering. For this reason, there is never any creation. So at the end of the differentiating the definitive and provisional teachings, Master Tsongkhapa says there are two ways things could exist, either from their own existence, from their own side, or from the independence on others. And since the first cannot be tenable, therefore there is no other choice but to say that things exist by way of dependence. And therefore, in his commentary on the Malamada Karika, Master Tsongkhapa says, after having said this same phrase and statements, say that one should forcefully direct your mind towards one's mind towards that. Verse number 113, while vases and the like do not exist in suchness, look how they exist so commonly in ordinary experience. Likewise, it does not follow that all things are like a child of a barren woman, because neither uncaused nor caused by God, caused by itself, another, or both, there exists no phenomena that is inherently produced, and therefore phenomena are fully created in dependence. And so, as I explained yesterday, things that come from their causes do not come through some kind of a will of a God or without any cause, nor from any other incompatible cause, but they do arise from compatible causes. Verse number 115, because things are completely interdependent, these extreme beliefs remain powerless, and for this reason the reasoning of interdependent origination is what cuts through the variety of inferior views. 116, conceptions occur if things have an existence, yet how things have no existence has already been decided. Being non-existent, these extreme beliefs will not occur, as for example, without fire you will have no firewood, you will have no fire. So with regard to it is something that actually interests people with interest, intelligence. So from Bashika up to Madhyamakas, and within the Madhyamakas there are those who assert some objective existence in things. But what we need to do is think through closely and analyze these positions well. We should not just be attached to or look at things one-sidedly, but we need to have a holistic or a broader perspective of the different positions. And so, if you are able to do that, then you would have a very broad, thinking, and your understanding and wisdom would also be quite broad and vast. Zero. Did it? Ordinary beings are fettered by thought. Did it? Cling to one's own view. Zero. His Holiness read through to 119, verse 119, sorry. And 117 says, ordinary beings are fettered by thoughts, yogis are freed through non-thought. Therefore, to recognize that thoughts are erroneous is the outcome of analysis. So the wise have said, Analysis in the treatises does not come from fascination with polemics. Suchness is shown for the sake of attaining liberation. If suchness is fully explained and the views of opposing scriptures will come apart, this is not our fault. That was very strange. Yeah, 19.
就如同400论里面所说的，先遮遣非福，终因遣出我，后遮一切见，如此为智者。也就是首先我们先要学习增上身，先要去承办增上身，才有办法后世世的生生世世的来去累积。
So verse number 118, another reading is, the analysis in the treatises is not conducted out of fondness for arguments. It reveals suchness and is done so for the sake of freedom. If in the course of explaining true reality, however, other philosophical systems are undermined, there is no fault. And verse number 19 says, attachment to one's own views and likewise aversion for others' views is itself rarefied thinking. Therefore, by utterly dispelling attachment and anger and engaging in analysis, one swiftly achieves freedom. So he stops there. And then next comes the presentation of selflessness of persons, the need to negate intrinsic existence of persons. So there will be a review session at 1:30 in the temple, in Kalachakra temple, the other temple here, at 1:30 by somebody from the Namgyal monastery. And then at 4 o'clock, Gishi Thupten Pasangla will be doing a review session at the Institute of Buddhist Dialectics Prayer Hall. So please be informed about these two review sessions at 1:30 in the Kalachakra Hall, and at 4 o'clock, another one at the IBD Prayer Hall.
第3、4句，第6点的第3、4句呢，在此破除了名言上有自相之理，这是很重要的一点。所以呢，这个34句的时候呢，就说到了因成圣者定灭事物之过患的因成，所以有说3因成或4因成。第一个因成叫做因成，就是反驳时候，按照你的装法来讲的话，会有这一种某某的因成过失，是一种反驳或者找出对方矛盾的一种说法。所以呢，在3因成或者4因成里面的第一个因成圣者定灭事物之过患的因成呢是34句。那第35句说到了因成世俗地为理智所堪忍之过患。那在第36句的时候呢，说到了因成无有生意他生之过患。那如果可以的话，可以再加第4个因成，就是因成无自性为自空之过患。其实仔细看《般若经》的时候呢，《般若经》里面说的色皆自性空，是说色本身并非是由色的自力而有，所以色是色的空嘛，而不是说大昭寺里面没有僧人的他空。所以在讲解空性的时候，都讲自空的，根据这一个法而去说空性，而不是说这一法不是他法而说的空性。所以在此又说到了3解脱门等。那接下来，又说到了因为无有自性的缘故，所以才能够依赖他者。因为依赖着他者的缘故，才有办法安立因和果。通常下部论师只说果从因生，但是因为无自性的关系，互相完全依赖和关待的关系，因也因为果而成为因。即便因时无果，可是因之所以成为因，因为将来会生果，所以依赖着、关待着将来要生的果而去说到了因的。所以，因为无有自性互相关待的缘故，一切的作用和性质都能够在名言当中坦然安立，并不用像下部论师所说的，色之所以存在，是因为直色之势是正量，直色之势正量之所以正量，是因为它有自正分。不需要这样讲，一个后面必须要一个根据，一个后面必须要一个根据，这种说法是不需要的。境依赖着事依赖着互相关待而有，就像果依赖着因依赖着果，互相关待而有，这种的说法并能成其。第39句这边说到了以灭也是有为法等。第45句在此破除了唯识派的说法。其实龙树不知道在写《中观根本会论》的时候，那时候并没有很明显的唯识派的中见，是龙树不知道之后由吴卓兄弟将这个唯识派的中见发扬光大，非常的明显的跳脱出来，也就说到无外境，那一切的心智都是第十而有。那第51句的时候就说到了唯识派很艰难的立了这一种心事为第十有的这个立宗，可是呢，仔细的去寻找的话，如同外无自性般，内也应该无有自性。那第63句的时候，再次又说到了唯识派的中见。那第73句的时候说到了后来的回忆，也就是说，唯识派我们可以透过后来的回忆、事后的回忆来去知道说，当时我看到色法的缘故，能够同时意念直色之事，所以直色之事不需要自证，因为透过回忆色法的意念，后来的这个意念也能够同时意念当时候我看到色法的直色之事，所以不需要自证的内容。第80句的时候说到了无有自性，因此是元气。第86句的时候说到了三界唯心造。第92句的时候说到了色和律法是个别的。虽然个别的宣说色和律法等，但是如同外法无有自性般，内法也无有自性。第95句偈颂文里面的第3句和第4句呢，说到了如是形象诸于今，此叫义显不了义。这句话很重要，从这句话我们可以知道，月车菩萨、龙树父子等的这些大教师，针对佛亲自所说的经典来去分类，有一些的经典是可以无言可取的，按照词面上的内容来去安立立宗，但是有一些经典是不能无言可取的，所以我去说到了了义和不了义两者的经典。那第97句以上在此说到了破四圣的道理，第99句说又在破除了无因而生的道理。第104句的时候说到了，如果是从精神而有、自性而有的话，那就必须得说自生，或者说他生，或者说自他两者而生，或者是无因而生，除此没有其他的方法。但是再怎么去寻找，因为找不到的关系，所以就会产生矛盾了。 所以之后在路中论的最后一段，我们也可以看到路中论说的这句话：如观察车七相无，由于世间共许有。观察的时候找不到的，一切的作用和性质，可以在明示施设当中而存在的。这也是般若经的究竟意趣了。在抽象中，一切的作用才能够坦然安立；在明示施设当中，一切的作用才能够坦然安立。所以，唯明示施设有个“唯”字，并不是代表说世所执取的内容不在，不是这个意思，而是代表说镜上而有的这一种自信，在此被“唯”字所破除。那，所以要破除的是共相有法与就是说实话的论是说的共相有法是在此要破除的内容。这种说法是令人称奇的。所以呢，在中观师来讲的话，就是名言上否定有自相的中观师，他们认为什么叫做有，什么叫没有，是根据3个条件来说的。哪3个条件呢？世间共取，不被名言师给损害，不被圣意识给损害，来去决定有和没有。所以有和没有的力量不是取决在境上，而是来自于有没有符合这3个条件。因此，正量不需要是初知，不需要一开始了解，你只要对于自己的所执取的主要的境无有无赖的话，就可以安立为正量。因为无有自性的缘故，所以呢，在名言上否定自相的中观师的许多的论述，跟量学的大师们所说的产生了不同。113句，去寻找假意之后找不到，这些都名言施设当中可以承办。所以中大师又说到了，有的方式就2种，一个就自性有，一个就唯名施设。那以比较俗语来讲的话，一个叫实体有，一个叫抽象有。有的方式就是2种，除此以外没有其他有的方式。如果是自性有的话，寻找之后应该找到才对，可是找不到，会被你破除。所以我们只能无奈的选择后者。而且在正林海的后面又说到了，对于后者的选择，弟子呢，即便是无奈，也要往这方向去想。所以一开始我们可能很难接受，但是时间久了，慢慢的，你就会体会到说，为什么在抽象当中，一切的作用和性质都能够被坦然安立的道理。那第114句的时候说到了不动缘、无常缘、能力缘等，这一些都在因缘施设观待当中而有仅此而已。于是念到了119句，今天就到这里为止。那如同之前所说的，空正见的这个思维是非常重要的，而且这是佛教的智慧的精华之所在。真的，如果你是智者的话，你会因为空性的论述而心生欢喜。那我们要好好的去学习。真的很难，不是说很简单，的确很难。这为什么在佛弟子里面有毗婆沙宗、经部、唯识、中观，即便是在中观的论师里面，有一些的大论师们也没有办法接受名言上是无自相的，他们也没有办法接受。即便是如此，我们还是要好好的去思维，好好的观察，好好的去思维空性的道理。而且思维的时候，一定要从全面的角度去做思维，不要从单一的角度去做思维。因为我们在辩论的时候会说一定不一定，一定和不一定的意思呢，就是遍布一切才说一定和不一定。所以呢，我们在辩论的时候用全面的角度去辩论。同样的，在思维空性的时候，你们一定要多元化的角度、全面的角度去观察，不用单一的角度。所以这也是为什么你们偶尔可以跟法友们聚在一起互相讨论，这是极为重要的一点。
谢谢。
下边我是的天毛党滚动上播的，让给现在给老百姓接受到逻辑。教完这段，那这劳动我就是学会教完，他们这个我讲了，超动我吧，大概给上完这个人上过去就劳动我玩给，哎呀。
나타나죠. Screen says, or screen says,